Hi, I'm your host, Marcus Den of the Gridiron Insight. And man, we got a show for you today. I got my sidekick, Mikael Stevens, and a special guest, Mr. Charles Smith. What's going on, guys?
What's happening, man?
So what's up?
Man, I
What's
tell you
up?
what, guys, it's a lot of stuff going on right now, man. And I don't know if the world right now is ready for what's going on, man. But hey, there's a lot of things that's changing in college football, and got some people upset, man. You got this college playoff that's happening right now, man, which I think is a travesty. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think the committee could have did a whole lot better, but first year, first year in that. So, man, we first of all, man, how you guys doing, bro?
Man, I'm
Well,
doing good, man. Can't complain.
same here. Taking a break.
Yeah,
Trying to
Charles, you
figure
out
out
for
when
a
these
couple
games
weeks though,
start.
right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out for a couple of weeks. Away from the university. I won't be back in office till about the I think the 8th of January, 9th of
Oh
January.
man,
So,
y'all
I
love
got a
that
nice
good break.
break.
oh yeah, I'm enjoying every second
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Every school teacher, every professor, man, this is the break they look for all year long, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mikhail,
All I
man,
can do
y'all
is
had a
turn.
Mikhail, y'all had a pretty good season this year, man. Didn't end the way y'all wanted to, man. So what's the future look like for the MC Jags?
Well, we looking pretty good. We losing a lot of seniors, but we bringing up a lot of juniors and sophomores that'll be able to
Yeah.
compete. One good thing is Tupelo moved over to Region One, so we don't have to necessarily see those guys unless we playing in North State. So that's a relief. And I just want to tip my hat off to Tupelo. They had a great season.
Oh, great season, man.
Anytime you could beat us twice, you done did something. So my hat's off to those guys.
Yeah, man, they loaded with talent, man. The quarterback that they got coming, Braden Williams. Um, man, he's better than the guy that they had last year. And you still got
Hmm.
JJ coming back, man. So it's gonna be very interesting in Mississippi high school football, man. And things are changing even in that landscape when it comes to kids going. You see them at one school this year, the next year you see them at another school, and man, things are changing, man. But you know, one thing I want to talk about, man, is the evolution of college football. And we all know we at a pinnacle time in college football. And you got a lot of people out there don't like what's going on. But college football has been changing since day one. So, brother Charles, man, you did a little research on that, man. So, man, just give me some of your thoughts about that.
Well, like in anything in life, in any organization or any groups of organization, evolution is inevitable. This is what you deal with. There's always going to be change. And what I found interesting about college football is just looking back in its past, when there were certain universities that were the powerhouses of college football, who are now considered the second levels of football. In the early stages of
Right,
college football, Army and West Point and those schools were, well, as is West Point and Army, the same school, but they were a powerhouse, and they controlled football literally by themselves along with Notre Dame.
hmm
As if as universities evolved, it became a sense of community and feeling a part of something big. So as a result, what you found was a handful of schools taking over the power of the early stages, and it's the same thing today.
yeah.
There's a guy who did this wonderful podcast by the name of Melvin. Oh, sorry about that. This guy, Melvin McKelvey, I think that's his name, and he's done a podcast. I mean, a podcast show that talked about the evolution of it, which I found super interesting because it
Yes.
talks about where we are in college football today and its linkages toward the way that the NFL evolved. What college football is going through right now is very similar to the evolution of the NFL.
No, no, no
Uh,
doubt. No doubt.
and the similarities will blow your mind. In the early stages of the NFL, it was basically two power teams.
Hmm
I think the Giants and the Browns.
Yeah.
And they had gotten to the point where they had so much control of the game because they had all the players.
Yeah, they
And
had all the players.
They had everybody.
Yeah.
And as a result, it was no competition. So what they did was they collectively came together to come up with a system of draft so that they would give other communities and other cities who had teams to give them an opportunity to get their hands on good players, because they knew in the long run that they could do, it's this argument about socialism and capitalism.
Oh,
in the early stages of college football, college NFL
football.
It was really socialism.
Right.
Because they decided to give everybody an opportunity, and they would come up with a draft, and everybody has the same chance to move forward, because they knew in the long run they could apply their capitalism to the point where you would bring in all these groups of people who wanted to see games
and make money.
And that's where we are now with college football, where the big universities are all about the business of congregating among themselves. They can gobble up all the talent so that they can get all the resources, all the TV revenues, all the money. That's where we are.
And then you had 4 teams. You had 2, but 2 more came along. I want to say it was the Packers.
The Packers. It was the Packers. It was the Giants. It was the Cleveland Browns, and
Detroit Lions.
It was all the Midwestern states.
The Midwest, they controlled.
The Midwest was really developing because that's where a lot of the urban centers were. That's where the bulk of the wealth of the nation was, because that's where
it's kind of like that SEC Big Ten Panhandle right there, bro.
Exactly. So all of those schools all of those NFL teams got together and say, you know something, we're gonna gobble up everything. And then they started expanding out to now. And what do we have today? We've got the NFL. How many teams in the NFL? 32? 32 teams in the NFL. They gobble up all of those resources, and they play among themselves. They do their draft, and NFL literally controls major college sports. Major sports in the nation, not college, but just sports in the nation, because they've been able to pull together just all of those resources and create this monster, this financial machine that runs American sport today.
It is a machine.
Well, guess what? The same rule applies to what they're doing with college football. They're creating a machine. That a handful of schools. I was trying to figure why are all these conferences breaking up, and you got schools on the West Coast joining the ACC. You got schools in the Deep South going north. It is because they're doing the exact same thing that the NFL did. You pull together a handful of teams that gets all of the television revenue, and you create gigantic major games. So you got a USC.
$8 billion with the Big Ten, $3 billion with the SEC, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. And so, but see, now here's the problem. One of the problems with that is, over time, in the short run, you're going to create an insane amount of wealth. But in the long term, you end up losing interest to schools who were not able to get in on that deal. Mm-hmm. The Oregon States, the University of Pittsburgh. And they have places.
It's going to happen if they don't do something different. Mikael, what your thoughts, man? I know you're a football guy. You dissect a lot of things, man. So, man, give me your spiel on what do you think is going on? Where you think we're going right now with this?
Well, I think it's a necessary evil, because I can remember growing up, and I remember the University of Michigan would come on HBO. And that's late 70s, early 80s. And I remember a time when you voted for a national champion.
Man,
then we got into the BCS. Then we got into the BCS era, where the computer decided. Then we added human interest into the BCS. Mm-hmm. Then that turned into the 14 playoff. And now we're here at the 12-team playoff that could possibly go to 14 teams in a couple of years when they restructure another TV deal. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about the wealth of players, I think we did get a taste of being stale, where Alabama was winning so much. The SEC dominated so much
So much.
that
Exactly.
I
these
think people got
teams,
tired of it.
other
think people
places
got tired of
outside the Southeast, the
Yeah, I think
Southeast
people
is
got tired of
happy, but outside the Southeast, it was different. So now you got all these teams that built up 10 running backs, all 4 or 5 stars on one team.
That won't happen no more.
Now, with the new rules, the money, you could spread a little bit of that wealth out a little bit.
Of course,
And maybe
NIL.
But
Exactly.
opened up the door for that
you
to happen.
have that, but
Mhm.
this is what I see when it comes to something that we have just recently looked at. We saw Nick Saban go out. We saw Bill Belichick come in.
Mhm.
And let me give you what I'm thinking and my reasons for Nick Saban going out. Back when Mal Moore hired him in 2007, bro, they was at the bottom of the totem pole. They was getting their
Yep.
butt kicked. They wasn't having winning season. That first year Nick Saban came in, he was ranked like number 12. And then from 2010 to 2012, that joker was in the top 5.
Yep.
And then he had 3 teams that was number 1 back to recruiting. But let me tell you how I felt like, and I had some kids during that time, how I felt like he was able to stack those guys. I felt like he was able to stack those guys because he sat down and he created a formula. Okay, how can I keep all these 5 stars in one spot? Number 1, I upgrade the facilities like nobody else have. Number 2, I create programs to help them after football. Number 3, he promised them, okay, look, if you come here and you wait your turn, you will get a chance to go play in the NFL. And those things held true. But what happened in 2015? Kirby Smart went to Georgia. Kirby Smart went to Georgia with the same exact formula.
There you go.
When Kirby Smart went to Georgia, then all his coaches started branching off with that same thing. Man, they had intern programs when these kids became sophomores and juniors. They were working with Fortune 500 companies. You see what I'm saying? So when mom sat down and my kid's a 4-star, look, I'm gonna have your son working with a Fortune 500 company by the time he's a junior. If he doesn't make it, he's gonna be able to make it in life. He's gonna be able to be a real estate attorney or whatever the situation he wants. Nick Saban sold a dream, and that's how he was able to stack kids in his cellar. And so, guess what happened when the NILs came? Now everybody's on the same playing field. His calling card that he used, he can't use that anymore. That's gone. But guess what? Bill Belichick said, okay, you know what? You can't use it, but I'm coming in and say, I've been an NFL coach. I know what it takes to win. I'm going to treat this program like an NFL program. From scheme to life after football to nutrition to everything that you can think of that goes into an NFL program, that's what he's going to do at North Carolina. So that's why he's coming out. And Nick Saban, he's coming in and Nick Saban's going out. You got to remember, these guys about the same age. They coached together in Cleveland.
Yeah, they did. Exactly. And they've known each other since childhood. I think their fathers were coaching together.
They've been knowing each other for a long time. But you look at it, one is going out and one is coming in because what Nick Saban done cannot be done anymore. He can't stack 4 after 4 after 5 after 5. You can't do that. You might have 1, 2. You're not going to have 4 or 5 of them on the roster.
No,
that's not going to happen.
But really,
too much money out
Marcus,
there that a kid can make.
But Marcus, is Nick Saban really out the game? He may not be prancing down the sideline, but administratively, I think he's playing a part behind closed doors big time. And he's always got something to say about it.
I don't know. I don't know that. He might be, but the reason why he's not on that sideline because it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Everybody know the formula now.
Well, one question you got to ask: does Alabama have the resources financially to compete
Man, I
with
don't.
the Texas
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah,
Well,
they do.
here's the deal. They do
Yeah, they do.
because
Yeah, they
you
do.
gotta
Yeah.
think about when Nick Saban got
Okay.
there, bro. I think that
Mhm.
I think that stadium only set about about 70 some thousand. When he left, it was
Yeah.
like 100
They
some
knock it
thousand.
down. They knock
I
it
mean,
down
so the
100 now.
revenue was coming in from apparel to. I mean, the revenue was coming in, but yet and still, you got to deal with Texas A&M. You got to deal with Texas. You got to deal with Oregon, a guy who says it does not matter how much money a kid wants, he will pay
Nike and
it.
their shoe thing has Oregon.
So
Texas has the oil.
he can promise a kid, he can promise grandmama anything. That don't matter. Grandmama ain't worried about baby boy becoming a lawyer or whatever. When baby boy can make 500,000 right now, that changes the game. That's Nick Saban. His formula worked in his era. This is a new era. So I think right
Well,
now it's going to take different coaches to open up their mind. Dabo Swinney. We all know, we all agree Dabo is old school, right?
he's a
We all agree to
dinosaur.
that, right? How
Yeah, he's a
about Dabo
dinosaur.
just got his first? How about he just got his first Porter guy the other day?
Well, he
So you
knows he has to evolve. If he doesn't
or
evolve,
die.
he's going to become obsolete.
He's going to become a dinosaur.
Yeah, but you know
He's gonna
he
die.
was pushed, but he went bananas over
Yeah,
NIL. I mean, he was
he
one
did.
of the ones who was pushing against it when he realized that he had to make the adjustments.
Yeah,
But
he
now
had to
you
make the
know
adjustment.
the elephant in the room is that Colorado when it comes to this new age,
I agree.
because the way that Dion is approaching
I
this whole
agree.
thing is all about the new age of college football. I
People
mean,
don't know
because
how to take him
Colorado
right
at
now.
one point they don't know what to do with him because he's tapping into a marketplace that is evolved and changed.
Dude,
I mean, look at
I'm
Colorado.
I'm a
I
guy
wasn't
who I'm a
expecting
guy
him
who
to
thought
do
it
what he
wouldn't work.
did there.
I
What
thought it
now?
wouldn't work, Charles.
I didn't think it was going to work for him either. But look what happened for them. I mean,
I didn't
you know,
think
he
it was.
had some
I
core
will be the
players, and then
first
he
to
took them from
say
there.
I did not think it was going to work.
And I'm in the same boat. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the press room at a football game, and I was talking to a colleague about it, and I was like, "Man, that is not going anywhere." I expect them to do another 4-8 season, and boom, look what you have. What they end up with? They're in a bowl game, and we're on the edge of being in the, a game. Another win or two would have put them in the tournament.
Big 12 championship.
It would have put them in the Big 12 championship. A win there would
Even with his
automatically
success at
catapult.
Jackson State, I did not think it would translate to. I thought he would do better than the guys before him. I did think that.
Right.
I thought he would
Right.
be 5-5. I mean, not 5-5, but 6-6.
6-5 season or 6-6.
Yeah, something teeter that.
7-5
And then
season, yeah.
stay on that level until Shador and them got out of there. I thought that's what I thought. So guess what? Egg on my face. I was wrong.
You got to look at the whole Colorado situation. Since they had Mel Tucker, their facilities were some of the best facilities.
Oh, they got
in
some
the country.
great stuff.
So
man, they got a whole medical staff on one floor up there, bro.
Right. So they had a program that was just minus a staff to launch them off. It was already turnkey ready. People have underestimated Coach Prime, but Coach Prime has been in this business since his kids were little.
Yeah.
So he's taken a long route to where he is, and he used Under Armour. He was doing the camps long before everybody was doing them, long before they got popular. So you'd be surprised at his reach and able to touch generations of kids that the normal coach can't really touch. That's Coach true. Prime can go and sit, and 90% of blacks, they go in their house and everybody know who Prime is.
Oh yeah.
And most parents will say,
I mean, he is a special case. There's a handful of people, because now other universities now have wrapped their heads around the celebrity coach and bringing in celebrity coaches. Because I don't know if not Michael Vick at Norfolk State. and also going and getting what's his name to go down to North Carolina, which I don't know how successful that won't be. I'm looking to see how that plays out.
Right,
But
Eddie George.
Eddie George at Tennessee State. Well, it took him a while, but he's got success. I think they went. Didn't they win Ohio Valley this year, and they ended up playing?
Well, man, look what Sam Shea had did at Miles. Miles has never been to Division II playoff game, and they went this year.
Exactly.
So the recipe is working, because and let me tell you one reason why these guys are having to go to HBCUs. So I'm not gonna call no names, but I got two friends of mine that played 6 years plus in the NFL, and they applied at their alma mater. They applied at different schools. No college will hire them. They will get a high school job. They would love to have them in a high school. They would get, but no college will hire them, and they feel like they're being discriminated against because they played in the NFL. And then you got a 23, 24-year-old grad student or analyst has never played at that level, and you bring them in, and okay, who are the kids going to adapt to? Who are the kids going to listen to? Even the coordinators. The kids are going to listen to that guy who has got paid millions of dollars to play this game at a high level. So these guys are being skipped over because nobody want them in their program, bro. So hey, here we go. The HBCU, we'll take you. We'll take you.
And again, see, Mark, that's what we're talking about. That's what this whole topic is about. It's the evolution of the college game, and football. Maybe it's the evolution of the black coach as well, because
you might have
some.
You might have some now.
It's a renaissance of black coaches. Yeah. So maybe it's something we calling out in real time, and we're witnessing it in real time.
Well, let's see what Michael Vick does, man. I heard he's putting together a pretty good staff. I mean, he got a support cast, man, like Cam. You got to think about him having a support cast of Cam Newton. Cam Newton has a 707 organization that's bigger than any other 707 organization in the United States of America. And the way the portal is right now, he has kids on these teams that's going to be FCS kids. He got kids on this team that's going to be G5 kids. But what if a kid say, you know what? I'm not going to go to Purdue because Purdue's not really doing a whole lot right now. I'm going to go and play for Coach Vick. I'm going to go play for Coach Vick, and I'm going to go and make all conference. Perfect example. I was at Alcorn State homecoming. There was a kid by the name of Giovanni Gibson at UAPB. Lit the swag up. And so when Oklahoma, all their receivers started hitting the portal and all this kind of stuff, I said on a podcast that I seen one of the best receivers I've seen in a long time at UAPB. And guess what? That got back to the staff somehow. Guess what that kid is at right now? The University of Oklahoma. So what I'm telling you guys, you don't have to go to Purdue now. You can bet on yourself. Go to Fort Valley. Put that work in, and then have opportunity to, you want to say get the bag, or however you want to say it, you can get that. Now we all know what just happened this week with Diego Plava at Vanderbilt. He won his case. Now you're looking at junior college not even counting right now. So a kid can come out of JUCO and have 5 years to play for. Man, what you think gonna happen? Football is moving fast.
Very fast.
It's moving real fast. And it's a train. And it's hard to derail that train right now because, as we all know, train going downhill, homeboy, you can't derail it unless you cut the rail from up under it. That's it.
I want to step back into something with that where we are, because we're talking about FBS at major universities. Now, in this whole process of this evolution and all of these changes, the role that HBCUs play and the role of how they sell themselves. I was thinking about this evolution of football when you brought it to my attention, and where HBCUs sit is a place where there's this guy who wrote this book called For the Culture, and it's about marketing, and it's about basically taking small market products and finding ways to develop it in a manner that appeals to wider, largest groups of people. And what you're doing is you're trying to understand the culture of the market that you're trying to sell to, and you adjust to those market strategies.
Definitely.
And he came up with some interesting ways. HBCUs basically right off the bat is a niche market in a population. Now, niche markets can have huge impacts. Deion Jackson showed that. Now the emphasis, people, the argument that, well, HBCUs need to get out of their bubble and go and play the big FCS programs. But in a niche market, if you've got Jackson State and Southern, or you've got Grambling and JSU or whoever, or A&T or whatever, any other HBCU, those schools, we all carry the same market. We're all wrapped up in it. Look at the numbers of the Celebration Bowl. Look at how many viewers were actually watching that show. Why would we go and play North Dakota State in a game that most fans in our niche market have no interest in seeing?
Well,
because
I mean,
that's the market. But
the nature
Jackson
of the beast,
State
man.
this year,
That's about the bottom line with that is about $1.
the dollar
We
bill.
know. I mean, it's about the dollar bill. And I mean, personally, man, you hear a lot of people say, y'all ought to go to the playoffs, man. Guess what? The money is better over here. So,
The money's way better over here.
And
You end up
the
having to
attendance.
spend money if you go and play in the FCS.
no, you
You
gonna have
end
to
up
spend
having
money,
to spend
man.
dollars.
Well,
but
I mean,
Jackson State playing whoever or whatever whatever one of the HBCUs, Alcorn playing somebody who is not, say for instance on the schedule, JSU played Southern at the beginning of the season, was a non-conference game. But you look at the crowd that showed up for that game.
yeah.
That was a
Well,
money-making day.
I mean,
for them.
but here's the thing. They haven't learned to maximize like they should. But
Mhm.
you got the North Dakota States
Mhm.
of the world has learned to maximize theirs.
Yeah,
They've learned to maximize.
yeah.
And they
Because
go
this
and play,
entire
I mean, the entire whole thing is changing so fast, man. Whether it's HBCUs, whether it's
right,
what we call PWIs, it don't even matter right now because
right.
everything has changed from Eddie Robb to Cold Chasm to to WC. Everything now is just right in front of you, and it's about $1. We can't push back that
It's all
time.
about
It
all
really
It's all,
though,
it's
it
all
would
about
be
$1.
but it would be in the FCS best interest to maybe want to include the HBCUs because of its audience.
Well, that's true, but
And,
how do you do
and
that?
I've never understood why they hadn't built a model around the HBCUs and its traditional games, because it can work.
Well, you gotta talk to the networks about that. That's really up to them.
Well,
The same way
I think
you
it's
you
more or less the NCAA more than
well
anything else.
you it's just like the Big Ten and the SEC saying, okay, we finna get away from you guys. It's what if the HBCU say I'm finna get away from you guys and start my own deal? That wouldn't be no different because they're not giving you no money worth a damn to do nothing. So the Big Ten right now, what we're looking at in the next year is the Big Ten and the SEC saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna take our top dogs and we're gonna go over here and bye bye NCAA. That's what they're looking to do. Will that happen? Well, I don't know. But if some of the other conferences follow suit and do the same thing, and I'm talking about your your bigger HBCUs that can stand on their own, then guess what? I think they stand to gain a lot more money than what they're making right now. But Right now,
Well, I
you got
mean,
them in a you
there
got
is
them in a
something to be
bubble.
said about creating your own network. Yes,
I mean, it's
I
true,
mean,
but
there's a major
you
deal with
got okay. Let me ask you this: and you got Jackson State, you got Southern Miss. To be
that.
honest with you, Southern Miss is in worse
Hmm.
shape than Jackson State is.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
guess what?
Hmm.
Southern Miss don't have the crowds that um for that Jackson State has. Only
No,
time Southern Miss sell that damn place out is when Alcorn or Jackson State come there, and that's
and
it.
Jackson State will be playing them this fall, from what I understand. So,
You understand
yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's
So,
going to be a sellout day, that first game of the season.
but let's talk. Let's get back to what we was talking about, man. I People want to know why. People want to say why. Why does everybody, get so infatuated with college football? And you got to think about it. College football people are people who are outgoing. So guess what? A lot of people who's outgoing, they on social media.
Hmm.
The average fan that's the average fan has twice the number of friends and triple the number of social media input
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
just regular fans have. So when you ask a person, well, why do you go to a college football game? Man, they want to distress from their job. They want to spend time with their
Hmm.
families. So
Hmm.
anything that make you feel good, what are you gonna do? You're gonna
You
spend
want to be a
money.
part of it. You want to spend money,
And you're gonna
and you want
spend
to be a
money.
part of it. But that goes back to what I said a moment ago. Every institution has its own structure and culture.
Right.
And people are attracted to being in the room with people who are like themselves with the same passion about this school. Every university has its own
Yep.
cultural norms. They got their thing. Everybody does it. Ohio State has their band thing that people go crazy over that. you
Oh
know
man.
you,
Yeah.
you know in
I
the
mean,
same way
yeah,
that we have
bro.
our
I don't
band
even
thing.
want. I ain't getting into that, but
But
you
but
you
it's a
take.
part of the
It
culture.
is, man.
That's what
It's
attracts the
definitely
crowd.
is that. I watched that game the other night, guys, and I had to go back and think to myself, man, when was the
Mhm.
last time I seen Ohio State on at nighttime? I haven't. I don't know if because of traffic or maybe the
Mhm.
TV deal or whatever. But I'm telling y'all,
Mhm.
that was one of the most electric crowds I have seen in college
Yeah,
football in a long time. And it was
pure
like
absolute passion and
they
love of
they
the
were so
institution.
happy to be playing that night game. Dude, they hit Tennessee in the damn mouth.
Yeah, they
Hit them in
did.
the mouth and bent their
Yeah,
ass
they
over and
did.
kicked them in the ass and sent them back. And then what were they
Yeah.
hollering? SEC, SEC. Dude,
Yep.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this model and I
Hmm.
love what college football is going, but I think people need to stop saying that they're hurting the game because as you talked about before, it's kind of like the NFL started. You
Hmm.
had all the
It is.
best players going to those four
Yeah,
teams
all
because they had
a
the money.
handful of schools.
So they had to do something to spread it out where everybody can make a market base. Because guess what? You're gonna get
Mhm.
to a place where you're gonna saturate just those few schools, and then the Louisvilles are not gonna be able to make money,
They're not.
and the
But now
Cincinnati's are
they
not gonna
have
be
to
able to make that
create
much money.
they have to create a mechanism that ultimately includes those institutions, because you
Definitely.
can't have 32 major colleges that have all of those sources of wealth and no one else has anything.
And the
So they're
and the
going to
and,
have to
and the
find a way
NCAA
to
is gonna have to come up
democratize
because
that.
they're gonna lose money if they don't.
They don't. In the short run, they'll make a lot of money. In the long run, I think it'll be
They will
destructive
not
because you'll turn away a lot of people. You're not going to get an
because you
Oregon State
because
fan
you're
wanting to
breaking
sit
down
up
the
and watch.
infrastructure, bro. You're breaking
Exactly. You
down the
break the
infrastructure.
infrastructure. You don't want to, or a Washington State fan, an Oregon State fan, a Pittsburgh fan, they're not going to wrap their heads around, why is it my school involved in this?
Well,
And
but
Everything
Utah.
but you
can't be
but
Ohio
you
State.
take Charles, you take this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is I thought about this today, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got Washington
Mm-hmm.
State
Uh-huh.
who just lost their OC, quarterback coach, and
Mhm.
now they just lost their head coach.
Right.
So what is it? I mean, now if you're the administration there, you know, another coach come there, is the same thing gonna happen? Yeah, the same thing is gonna happen because
Mhm.
everybody's looking for more. But what you
Mhm.
have to do as a university, you have to embrace that. Instead of you crying
Mhm.
about it, you have to go find that next guy that's going to generate the same type of high level competition. And that, if it's a feeder, it's a feeder for Oklahoma. If it's a feeder for Miami, or whatever the situation is, but you gotta. Right now, it's attractive, but I know the fans are hurt because man, we just lost everybody. But guess what? Nick
Oh.
Saban went through it. He lost people every year after they won. Did he not?
Yeah, he did, but he also had a back. He had a his 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 next. I mean, his next
Yeah,
group of players were a bunch of 5 stars waiting their chance
yeah.
and opportunity.
Yeah,
Like I
but
said,
like you say,
those days are
that
over.
has
So those
dwindled
people are
down
not going
now.
to sit on the bench waiting on you
That's
now.
not the same as it was.
Yeah,
You know, that's not the
yeah, that
same
was
as it was, man. But
yeah.
me, I love what's going on, guys. But I do think there need to be some guidelines, some guardrails on some different things that's happening in college football because you got to think about it, man. The NFL has guardrails. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, of course.
And we can't, and you can't stay the wild, wild west forever.
No, no.
Can't stay the
That
wild,
that
wild.
doesn't play
You can't
well
do
for
that.
the company and all the
No.
companies. In economics, you have this thing of oligopolistic competition. That means a handful of people, basically 4 companies where one lead runs the whole industry. That's the way the car
Hmm.
industry works. Okay,
Well,
fine. But you can't have that in these sports where you have one university, 2 universities, 5 universities running everything for all colleges and universities. I think there
no.
are 133 FBS colleges in this country, and you literally have a tenth of those basically controlling all of college football.
Well,
And it's
well,
like, okay, in the long run, that's not
we
going to
we
work.
talked about the schools,
Hmm.
right? We talked about the schools, but
Hmm.
guess what? We got to talk about these kids.
Hmm.
So you take my guy Mikael right here. He has a son that's what I call a super sophomore who's
Hmm.
have Ohio State offer.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, um,
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
son that's playing now. Mikael, as fast as this thing is going, you right now, you in the recruiting. I'm out of the recruiting, but you're in the recruiting with your son, man. So what are your thoughts right now, man? What's your process? What do you feel like the necessary things you guys got to do to stay in the front of this race that's going on right now in college football, to stay relevant, man? Although you have you have the offers and everything, man, but everything is moving so fast, man. So just right now, I know that's a collective agreement, that your his mom and everybody have. So what are you doing right now to say, hey, look, you know, we got to stay up on what's going on?
Well, for one, everybody is eager to get offers from schools, right? But you got to be just as eager to maintain those offers. So, if you look at the schools, college football is becoming professional. They're hiring general managers to run
Oh
day-to-day
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
operations.
yes.
So, as a parent, if you have a student athlete who could possibly have the opportunity to go straight to a 4-year Power 2 conference or Power 4 conference, you may want to seek representation, so to speak, to get a better understanding of how the business side of college athletics work behind the scenes and
Mm-hmm.
what the value in the NIL value of your child is. Because a lot of parents, and nothing is wrong with this, they tackle this
Mm-hmm.
on themselves and not know
Mm-hmm.
that these guys have relationships and your son has already been tagged with a certain value. And if you
Yes.
don't understand that dynamic, you can sell yourself short or you may be able to get to where that number is. But you got to get some type of management, so to speak, for lack of better words, to help assist you in directing you with schools that want to give you what you want, because it's professional, and that's why
And
they got general managers.
they do. And I'm gonna tell you something. The higher your kid is ranked, um, I hate to say this, yeah, you need to look at representation. And that's a part of it, especially after a couple years, your kid moving to the starting lineup. Unless you're a person that's in that field, you need some because you got what parents don't understand. I've seen this kid come in 4-star, top 100 in the country. He comes
Mhm.
in, he doesn't go to class on time. He miss his nutrition is not um what it's supposed to be. I mean, he's missing meals. His weight is
Mhm.
either up or down. He's
Mhm.
he's missing meetings or late to meetings or
Mhm.
just being lackluster in practice. Well, guess what's going to happen at the end of the year when that general manager come in and get ready to negotiate your contract? You're not getting that money.
Mhm.
If you got two hundred
Mhm.
thousand last year, they might bump you down to 50. And guess
Mhm.
what? It's in that contract that you just signed before, telling you
Mhm.
if you don't produce and if you don't do certain things to stay on track, they will deflate your money.
Reevaluate you.
And so
And
Mhm.
you
see,
see a lot of kids are getting in that portal because it's just like having a job. Once you get um that kind of money and you're helping your family members, you can't drop from 200,000 to 50,000. So you hit the portal, although you might not get 200,000 from the next school, but guess what? That school might give you 100, 120. So that's better than the 50. So you hit the portal so you can get that 125, 150. So that's what parents don't understand. That money you get right up front, that's not money guaranteed that you're going to get all 4 years you at that university. And that's just, man, that's just some hardcore facts that these kids don't look at. And it's a
and, and,
business.
and you might want to think twice about even hitting the portal. And let's keep the main thing the main thing.
I love
And
that.
this is old school.
I
Get
love
your
that.
education.
Oh yeah.
Get your
Oh
structure your
yeah.
deal where you guarantee the scholarship to at least get one degree. And student athletes nowadays should be getting at least a master's, because they're going
Oh,
in
that's a
with credit.
minimum. You should get a
They going
minimum of
in
a master.
early and they going to summer school. So got to take advantage of those opportunities, because everybody is not going to the NFL.
Nah, that's not. That's just. I mean, we all know what the percentage of a kid making it to the NFL, but man, this is something that I want the parents to hear from um, a person that has a kid in college and a person who has a top rated kid in the state. You have to make sure your child is doing everything when he get in school. It's not only about performing out there on the field. It's about being a good student. You have universities that if you're on social media saying certain things, man, there's clauses in that contract. They'll deduct you 5%. You understand what I'm saying? They'll deduct you for a whole lot of things. You miss so many meals, they'll deduct you. If you don't do some of the the community stuff that they have set up for you to do, they'll deduct you. So there's so much stuff going on, man, that I can sit up here and talk for days. I can talk for hours, but I can tell you parents this: if you're not camping right now and getting your kid out there, you're doing your kid a disservice,
Mhm.
because the days of the high school coach picking up the phone and just call him and say, I got a kid you need to offer him, that's gone. They want some real numbers, because guess what? I can take that huddle film and I can speed that damn huddle film up, and I can slow that something down.
Well, what do you
So
think? Where does this whole thing with these junior colleges? Because it seems to me that there are going to be a lot of high school kids with a lot of talent who can play the game. If they, but they're not quite there.
and that's you
What
know what that's
avenues are we looking at now? They're going to they'll end up at the junior college.
well. Here's the first thing. Here's the
This is
first
real
thing
interesting.
on that right there. You got to do
Mhm.
something with these 40. I think it was Nebraska said they had like 145 kids on their team, so they got to Nebraska got to get down to 105. You got to talk about that 105 first. You got to talk about
Mhm.
them 40 kids that they got to get down to. I think OU was at 128, 130. They got they had to put 25 in the portal. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you think about all these D1 schools got to cut that down. Man, how many kids you gonna have in that portal? I think after a certain amount of time that the portal needs to be, okay, you've been here so many months. You ain't get picked up just like doing the toilet. Flush him, he gone. Because it's so
Well,
saturated right now, you don't know what's what. And I'm getting this from college coaches now. This is not
I
something
know
that I'm
because
making up.
it seems to me that where we're headed now, just like what you're saying with those 40, 45 students, there are going to be a lot of kids, a lot, and it seems
A
like it's going to get
lot.
worse. A lot of kids basically out there lingering, these permanent portal babies, who
Hmm.
end up just sitting out there with no one, and their only avenue and choices is D2 schools, FCS programs. But then the FCS programs have gotten to the point where they're getting real selective because they've got to
Oh,
win.
they real selective,
They've
bro.
got to get, so they can be just as selective as any FBS program in their own route because that's where it is. So we're going to end up with a lot of student athletes basically with no
Well,
home.
Charles, that's why I think they ruled how they ruled in that junior college deal. Because that's going to help some of those kids. Now, I do not know how that works if you're in college and let's say you're a freshman, you try to come back. I don't know how that thing's going to go because it's just so new right now, you know. But I think a kid being able to play 2 years of junior college ball, what's the difference between a junior college and a prep school? You're still taking classes outside of high school.
Right.
I mean, it's the
There's
same
not a
thing.
difference. I mean, because those are college hours. You're the junior college, those are college hours.
And yeah,
Even though
you
you
got
may have
these.
4 years of eligibility left, those kids are going to
Mhm.
go into schools as sophomores.
Right.
So they're only 60 hours away from a degree. That's
Correct.
2 years of being on the field or being in the classroom.
That's correct.
So they still will have 2 years of eligibility sitting on them.
Well, guys, look,
Um, that's
I'm
going
gonna
to be
tell you,
interesting.
it's gonna be interesting, man. But I tell you what, Charles, it's something that I think in the next 4 or 5 months, going into the summer, I think some things are gonna change. I think we're gonna see some change. Um, you know, one guy told me, "Well, Trump's gonna fix it when he gets in there." But guess what? I don't even think the Trump can fix this. He
Well,
got some policies that
if they
he's going to try to put in there to do some things, man. But right now, you got to think about it. He can do all of that, but when it comes down to money, he's going to be on the side of the people who making money, and we all know that.
that's the point where I was getting ready to make. It's like if they get involved in trying to fix it, ultimately that will not be beneficial to the student athletes.
Oh,
That they will basically take hits like you would not
never,
believe. And
never.
there'll
They
be
won't do
kids sitting out there with no place to go and nothing to do.
that. Man,
Because their form of fixing would definitely be advantageous to the universities only and the
yeah.
power structures within that. It's not going to be for I guess you could say the worker, which is the athletes.
Well, that's any part of the government when it comes to dealing with this. That's just my belief. But I can tell you this, guys. Um, I just wish there was some program, and there might be some programs out there. I know we have some different stuff with Isaiah, but I wish there was some programs out there that say, hey, look, come invest with us. You got all this money that you can got NIL. Come invest with us. I mean, I don't see any commercials on TV with talking about, hey, look, you got a $200,000 NIL deal. Come talk to us. Let us invest your money.
Yeah.
Let us brighten your future. That's what I want to see. I would
Yeah,
love to
yeah.
see that, because if you started doing that, those
Mhm.
kids that are making anywhere from $200,000 to $600,000 a year in 4 years of school, bro, do you know what their life would be like? It
Mhm.
won't be like ours
No,
starting
it'll be
out.
different. It won't be different.
It'll be different. You got like I said, I have one, Mikhail. Um,
Mhm.
you know, it might be a little different from when your son get there, because the revenue sharing is coming.
Mhm.
That's something that's not. I mean, it's just it'll be here in June. It'll be here in June. So don't know
And
exactly
you
how
have to be
that's gonna
honest.
work.
All parents are not equal. They're not like you guys. They're not like you, Mikhail. They're not like you, Coach. They don't come to the table with this understanding and this kind of knowledge, with the ability to kind of see exactly where they're going. So many of these parents are going to be naive, and the level of so many of them being taken advantage of would be mind blowing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, where they
yeah.
don't
I hate
understand.
that,
You know, the
man.
whole
Yeah.
even down to the point where, you know, you're taking care of yourself, the kind of food you eat. You know, what if the kid doesn't stay in the right kind of shape, they'll lose
Mhm.
everything on their deals. You know, it's a lot of
Yeah.
parents. Most parents don't know
I
anything about
just
the
saw
nutrition.
that happen, Charles. I just saw that happen,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it's a shame. I
It's
mean, the mom and the brother and the sister, man,
mhm,
had all, say, hey, look, this is what we want to be, and everything changed, but they
mhm.
did not know that their, I want to say cash cow. I hate to say that, but the kid who was
But that's what it
helping
is.
them
You can say
provide,
it. Yep.
I mean, it was helping
Provide.
them provide for everything, wasn't doing the
Mhm.
stuff that he was supposed to be doing. And then they look up and they're
Exactly.
like, what? Well, why are they doing
What
this to you?
happened? What
And
happened?
then when they find
Exactly.
out what happened, instead
Mhm.
of, putting a foot in his ass, oh, you were
Mm,
just late for a meeting. That ain't nothing. That ain't
mhm.
got nothing to do with
No,
being on the
no, that's
field.
everything.
That's
That's
everything.
everything.
That's
Because
accountability, bro.
when
Because if I can't
exactly,
count on you to be in there on time and doing it, I
there you
can't
go.
count on you on that field.
I mean, it's a job. You don't show up at work. I need you to be here at 8 o'clock. You don't show up at work, and you show up at 10, 11, and 12 every day. Guess what's going to happen with you in that job? It's the same rule applies. You know that
Hmm.
these kids and these parents need to understand that now you're no longer a student athlete. You're an employee,
Oh, you're definitely
and you have
look,
to understand that that's what you are.
Charles, man. A funny thing. I'm gonna give you a funny story, guys, and we're gonna get ready to get out of here, man. But I'm gonna give you a funny
Uh-huh.
story before we get out of here, man.
Uh-huh.
So last year, about this time in January, we were sitting at
Uh-huh.
the hotel,
Uh-huh.
and Isaiah was sitting on the end of the bed, and my wife looked at him. And he looked like you know what a sick puppy looked like, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was sitting on the end of the bed, and he got he got his schedule and all this stuff. Everything is on his phone. How
Uh-huh.
things going to be? What time you got to get up? You got this. You
Uh-huh.
got to go here. You got to go here. He
Uh-huh.
looked at me. He said, "You know what? I got a job. I got a job." Reality hit him, man, like a ton of bricks. But
Uh-huh.
as you
Uh-huh.
said, we had prepared him for it.
Exactly. You
You
prepared
know,
for it.
you can sit up here and tell these kids everything, and you can
Uh-huh.
prepare them for it. But
Uh-huh.
until they go through it, it's
Yep.
got to be in here. You can
It
tell them
ain't the
everything, but if
same.
it ain't in here, it
It
doesn't
ain't
matter.
the same. It
No.
ain't the same. That's right.
Excuse me. Yeah. So like I said, man, I appreciate the conversation, man. Uh, Charles Smith, bro. Hey,
Yes.
you're a light to the business, bro. You're a light to the business, man. I enjoy having you on, man, for sure, man.
I
And
appreciate that. I
man,
appreciate
my
that.
man Markel,
I'm learning as I go along. I'd like to apply some of my training to what y'all are doing. I'm thinking about, should I be looking into trying to do some of this work?
Hey, look, man.
Get
Look,
these
when you want
parents
to come on, me and
understand their
Markel, we
place.
here. We here. Hey, we look. You know, the holidays have been kind of crazy, man, and we kind of took a little bit of a time off, man. But we're gonna try to be here. You know, every other week, man, during football season. We'll be here every week, maybe twice a week during football season. But man, like I said, man, we enjoy having you on, and like I said, Markel, he's one of the sharpest minds I know when it comes to philosophy of football. So, and what's going on, man? You know,
I don't know about that.
Look, hey, he's always thinking, Charles. Don't let him fool you on that, man. He's always thinking. Look. Hey, look. Hey, before we get out of here, man. Hey, let them know where they can find you at, Markel.
Y'all catch me on Twitter at MikeKell7Mile.
All right. What about you, Mr. Charles?
Well, you can catch me on Instagram, Charles Anthony Smith, at Charles Anthony Smith.
Charles Anthony Smith, the great. We're finna get out of here, guys. I am Marcus Dent, your host. Hey, look, before we go, hit that like button, subscribe. It's not gonna cost you anything. Till next time.
It is.